primary, a special primary that's going to take place in February, Joe Budd.
How you doing? My name's Joe Budd, and as Joyce said, I'm running for District 19. We have a special election primary coming up here on February 2nd. Let me give you a little background on me. I became a Christian nearly 30 years ago. I am a deacon in my church. I am a Sunday school teacher. I learned what it meant to be as far as holding a core value was for support of Israel. I learned in Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, the Bible tells us that those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel would be cursed. I think we're doing a little of that here today. That is a core value of mine that's been there for a long time. Not just this week, not just because I'm running for election, but it's been there for a long time because that's what I believe as a Christian. On Christmas Day, somebody that had a face, somebody that had a profile tried to blow up a plane. I think that when Obama seems to be wanting to make this a police matter, and he can't blame the Cambridge police for this one, somebody else is acting stupidly. There's a face to this, and we need to start profiling. Now, there's more profiling than just looking at a face, though. You can look at behavioral analysis, and we hear experts over in airlines that we can learn a few things from them. But I just want you to know I'm here to support Israel because this is definitely a core value of mine, and I look forward to your support on February 2nd.
Another man who's been on this street corner probably 40 out of 50 weeks when he wasn't somewhere else working for his district or the district he hopes to represent, Ed Lynch.
Thank you so much, Joyce. I got to tell you guys something. Every time I come here, it's like coming home. We're always here, and we're battling, and we're fighting, and I am so proud to be here once again today with warriors like Joe KAUFMAN and Joyce, as always, and Bob KUNST, and all of the guys here, and Tom Trento, that have been here supporting and fighting on behalf of Israel, and all of the American people and the American values and true conservative values that we have been working so hard for. So while I'd like to take this time and talk about politics and how we're coming up to a primary and all of these things, it's not about that. So I'm going to be very brief. I want you to listen to what I'm going to say because it's going to sound a little funky at first. But listen to it, and this is how I'm going to close. I think America needs to stop defending Israel. I think America needs to let Israel defend herself and let the rest of the world know we got her back 100% of the way, no matter what she decides to do. When we do that, and when we allow Israel to do that, that is going to send a resounding message to the rest of the world, and they will stand up and take notice. It is about time that we do that, and we need people in Washington, D.C. who are willing to stand up, say that, people who have been out here fighting with you, side by side on the wall, and people who are going to continue that fight in Washington, D.C. Thank you very much for coming out here. I'm honored to be here with you. I'm humbled by you guys all coming out here. God bless America, and God bless Israel.
Congress needs all kinds of people. It needs legislative geniuses. It needs down-home businessmen. It needs successful people. But it needs something in leadership that it lacks. It needs a warrior. Running for Congressional District 22, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West.
Thanks so much. I'm not too tall, am I? Happy New Year to everybody, and it's great to see you all, and I hope you have a great New Year. And, you know, when we come up here and we talk about Israel, I think the thing that we need to do is we need to go back to the Old Testament. And the Old Testament lays it out very easily. Because I want to tell you why there will always be an Israel. And if you go to Numbers chapter 34, it says, "Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command the children of Israel and say to them, When you come into the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall to you as an inheritance, the land of Canaan to its boundaries. Your southern border shall be from the wilderness of Zin along the border of Edom. Then your southern border shall extend eastward to the end from the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim, continue to Zin, and be on the south of the Kadesh Barnea. Then it shall go to Hazar Adar and continue to Asmon. The border shall then turn from Asmon to the brook of Egypt, and it shall end at the sea. As for the western border, you shall have the great sea for a border, and this shall be your western border. And this shall be your northern border. From the great sea you shall mark out your borderline to Mount Hor. From Mount Hor you shall mark out your border to the entrance of Hamath. Then the direction of the border shall be towards Zedad. The border shall proceed to Zephron, and it shall end at Hazar Enan. This shall be your northern border. You shall mark out your eastern border from Hazar Enan to Sepham. The border shall go down from Sepham to Riblah on the east side of the Ain. The border shall go down and reach to the eastern side of the sea to Chinnereth. The border shall go down along the Jordan, and it shall end at the Salt Sea. This shall be your land with its surrounding boundaries. If God has ordained the state of Israel, there is nothing that man can do about it. There is nothing that man can say about Israel will be lost, because this is their boundaries. We need to understand it. It was established in international law. The state of Israel will exist and will continue to exist. We will make sure that it exists. But let me tell you what happened. In 70 AD, Emperor Hadrian invaded into what was called then Judea. And when the Romans conquered the Jewish people, they did not want that land to be called Judea. They changed it to Palestine. If you want to free Palestine, give it back to the people who had it in the first place, the Jewish people. The nation of Israel has been in diaspora for too long. This is their land. We came together, United Nations Resolution 181. We came together and it was declared a state in April of 1948. And what happened in May of 1948? Immediately they were attacked by Egypt, by Syria, by Iraq, and by Lebanon. And they fought, and they stood. And when I went to Israel, I went down to a place called Kibbutz Yad Mordechai. And at that place was a 6-day battle that the Egyptians thought would only be a couple of hours. But there's an epitaph there that says, as much as one can withstand, we withstood. That's the same spirit that the nation of Israel must have now. It's the same spirit that we should have standing here on the corner. 300 some odd individuals pro-Hamas stood here. They did their evening prayers, and then they came and they charged us. And for those of you that were there, we withstood. When they thought that we would turn and run away, we said, it ain't happening. That dog don't hunt. Take your pro-Hamas butt and get the hell out of my country. It is not time for appeasement. It is not time for negotiation. It is not time for compromise. Every time we give them land, they want more. Every commission decision, from the 1937 Peel Commission all the way to the Oslo Accords. And just recently, when Benjamin Netanyahu said, we will suspend settlements for 10 months, they said it's still not enough. You're dealing with an enemy that only wants one thing, and that is a return of the Holocaust. That's not happening as long as I have breath in my lungs. There will never be anything other than the nation of Israel that occupies these boundaries that are set in the words here that we have in the Bible and the Torah. Educate yourselves and let everyone understand that everyone over there, the land belongs to the Jewish people. And it was theirs. It was taken from them by the Romans in 70 AD. You want to do what's right, give it back to the Jewish people. God bless you all, and thank you.
We have an amazing woman who has this vision of bringing Jews and Christians together in a united force to stand on principle. And she started an organization, Christians and Jews United for Israel. And right now, if you will, please welcome with me May Long, my good friend May.